Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me, See Me podcast, and today I've got the great pleasure of talking to a very interesting man, an accomplished athlete. Today I'm talking to Olympic medalist Anthony Ogogo. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the podcast today. I appreciate it.
We've got to get something out of the way really quickly. I've got to say a big hello to Dave Davis, who introduced us, a long-term friend of mine, a great fitness instructor. I know you work well with him. I've got to say hello, but I'm going to leave it at that because that man knows far too much about me.
And I've heard a couple of stories.
They're all lies.
I don't know about that.
He's a lovely man, but he lies for his teeth. So we'll leave that one there.
Yeah, you are, mate. He's a legend, Dave. He's an absolute legend, and he's put me in touch with a couple of his friends in the past. You've been one of them, and every single person that he's introduced me to have been legends in their own right. So there's a special group you boys have.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's go back. So where was you? You was brought up in Great Yarmouth, was you?
Lowestoft.
Lowestoft.
I was born in Great Yarmouth. I was brought up in Lowestoft, a really small seaside, coastal, sleepy town. Lowestoft is the tagline. When you drive into Lowestoft, the tagline is the most easterly point in the UK. That's not a thing, right? We're the most easterly town in the UK. But really, what that means, it means it's a pain in the ass to get to and a pain in the ass to leave. So people don't really go there. It's just so far. Yeah. And people don't tend to leave because leaving is a big step. So listen, we had a very humble upbringing. Mum, I've got 4 sisters, single parent. She raised us on her own. Absolute hero. My mum is, and we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot at all. We were very poor growing up, as you can expect. Single parent. She worked 3 jobs, but we had love. We loved each other in our household, and I'm sure we'll come on to this later. But whilst we're talking about it, one of the reasons why I try to do my bit wherever I can, any charity really, but you're one of what you do. I think what you do is so commendable because, as I said, we didn't have a lot growing up. We didn't have a car growing up. I remember being little. One of my earliest memories in life was walking to town. It was a 30-minute walk from my house into town to High Street to go to it was Safeway. Remember Safeway, the supermarket? Go to Safeway, and then it's like an old army. And also, Lowestoft is very even now, even now, but even more so 30 years ago, a very white town. I remember when my dad come to Lowestoft from Africa, he was the first real life black person people ever seen. It's weird. Yeah. So growing up a very, very, very white and underprivileged kind of area. And there was us, couldn't afford a car. My mum, my sister, me, my little sister, walk by my mum like a bunch, row of ducks from town back with carrier bags. With our shopping for the week. Every Sunday, every Saturday, we'd walk in and the bags are so heavy. And I was 4, I was a baby. And then when the bag's so heavy and they cut into your wrists, it's like that. But what I'm saying is, even though we didn't have a lot, we always had a house. We always had a roof over our head. Yeah. And that is, you take it for granted because it's normal to have a roof over your head. Yeah. But actually, it's not that normal, and it's very not normal for a lot of people, not just in the UK but around the world. And I think that's so sad. So for what you do, for people, homeless people, for their self-esteem and stuff is, I think, incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's really. I was in Leeds yesterday, and I just met some amazing people. And I often say to people, they say, "Is it all different wherever you go?" And it's pretty much the same. It's just different accents. It's the sort it is, and you meet type of the same people. I met a guy, Paul, yesterday. He was, because straight away, they're different. And he was from Harlow in Essex. So I clocked straight onto him. But he was, you'll see some pictures later of him. He was such a transformation. He was cheeky. But it's like you say, it's everyday people, isn't it, in them situations. And there's more and more like it now than you would think.
Yeah, yeah.
But going back
And
to,
so,
no, you first.
no, I was just going to say again, like this, I'm not going to pretend I know more than I know because I don't. I just walk past somebody who's homeless and think, oh, mate, it's cold. I've got a house. I've got radiators. I've got a bed. I've got a duvet. And in the winter, it's bloody miserable. It's cold. It's not nice. In the house with radiators in the duvet. So imagine being that poor sod on the street. Right? It's heartbreaking, you know. And so when I see somebody who's, you know, and I've got some change in my pocket, I give change. And as my wife and as my friend, because it's the kind of people we are. But what's I going to say? There's a reason I was going to say that. I forgot I was back. I was a boxer for a long time, as you mentioned. So I've been punched in the head so many times. So throughout this next hour or so, I will start a conversation, go off on a tangent, and totally forget what I was talking about. Case in point just then. So let's move swiftly on.
Dave will testify to what a crack fighter I was, and I took more than I gave out. That's why I have exactly the same problem. But going back to when you was young, what you were saying, you know, right, and that sounds, you know, like it sort of almost sounds idyllic, you know, because you're, you know, like you said, you're all going out the little ducks in a row in a seaside town, a lovely sunny day. But the thing is, what about when it's pouring with rain and it's freezing cold, and you've still got to go and then do that? Your mum's going to clip you around the ear if you don't come and do your bit. Yeah. So it's tough, you know. Those things are tough. And I've come across lots of single parents, you know, in what I do. And, you know, like, you've got to take your hat off to these women and men who do all of that on their own. I mean, 4 young kids, as you say, is no mean feat.
Five.
Five. So 5 altogether, yeah. Yeah, sorry. So 4 sisters and you.
Yeah.
That's the same as my boy's the only one and 4 girls around him. So.
Nah, mate, I feel for him. It's tough. Tough. People say to me, and I've never understood this. Never understood it. People always say, oh, you must have been spoiled growing up. I think, what? No, bullied more, right?
Yeah.
Outnumbered. Spoiled? Yeah, outnumbered, bullied. Mate, there's no reason why. It's not obvious why I took up boxing. Just to defend myself against the sisters.
Oh, girls can be vicious, can't they?
Mate, vicious, spiteful, don't forget. Like cutting with their words.
I know.
Like cutting with it, mate. But I wouldn't change it. But saying the idyllic thing, I mean, that's funny you say that because that's obviously when I've said that, that's the picture I painted. Mate, it was not idyllic. It wasn't like there's a bunch of us. There's 6 of us in a little house, 2 up, 2 down. Yeah. It was hard, mate. It was hard. But then when you're little, you know, what else do you know? That's all you know, right? That's all I knew. I didn't know like anything other than, let's be honest, the poverty that we grew up in. However, what I'm saying is, like, even though we grew up poor, we always had love. We always had people around us. Always had a mum. Always had sisters, and we always had a roof over our heads. You know, we always had a duvet to go to bed under, and that's the thing. I mean, like, I think it's the very, very, very basic requirements of a human being is to go to bed knowing that they're safe. Yeah. You know, like, and safety is. I've never had my house broken into. Thankfully, I never will. Hopefully, but if that day ever happens, all of a sudden you don't feel safe in your own house, and that's bad. You always feel safe in your own home. We haven't got a home to go to. It must be awful.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that. I've been burgled, and it's a weird thing that I never thought of that aspect. But once it's over, you add that real threat to your security. Like, you really, it takes a long time to move on. Because it's just a thing, someone's been in your house. But
yeah,
at least you've got an house to get broken into, you know, like, you know, there's times when I meet kids and they are kids, you know, to me they're kids, they're like early 20s or something. And they're you know, they're living at 10, they've got nothing around them, their family, they aren't with their family. And that you know, that, as you say, you realise how lucky you are with your kids, you know, that they're secure and all of those things. And as you say, security, love, warmth, and food is really the basics of what you need. And that's why we're so lucky. So when did it first go that you went into boxing? When was that part of your life?
I was 12 when I started boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said this quite a lot of times in my life, but there's a million things that I'm not very good at. A million things. Like me now, like if we if we put up a shelf in the house, my
Yeah.
wife does it. Like I don't. I'm bad. I'm bad. But growing up, I was always good at two things. I was always good at school in terms of it. I was clever at school.
Yeah.
I found it quite easy. I've just got a brain, very left side dominant brain. I found like I was quite clever at school, and I was always good at sport. Like, you know, and I was that annoying kid at school that in year 5 I've never picked up a tennis racket before because I couldn't afford one. But in the tennis class in PE, I was beating the teacher. You know, I was good at sport, and then I swam.
I used to hate kids like you. I used
Yeah.
to hate kids like you because everything was an effort with sport. You know, I weren't naturally athletic, so I had to fight and fight and fight to get any of these. But there's guys like you that you just like you say, you pick up a racket and you beat the teacher. That's like unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. But you get to a level, like, and I get it, because you get to a level, like when I got to like the elite level in boxing, like on the Great Britain team, Team GB, like I mean, like I'm always my own like hardest critic and worst critic.
Yeah.
But on the Great Britain teams, I'd look at some of the boys, some of the talented boys on the squad. Bloody hell, they're so good. But with me, like my greatest thing, my greatest asset is always my work ethic.
Yeah.
Like I was never the biggest, never the strongest, never the fastest, never the hardest puncher. But nobody in the professional camps I was in, on the GB squad, nobody worked as hard as me, and I've always prided myself in that because like talent will take you so far. It will take you to and maybe you see a lot of talented kids on the British like amateur circuit that'll win a schoolboy championship or junior ABA championship, but then you get to a level where talent doesn't cut the mustard anymore. You've got to be tough. You've got to be fit. You've got to be strong. You've got to be determined. You've got to put that work in the gym. And you see those guys that you see at like 12, 13, 14, 15, they're mustard. You think they're going to become Olympic champions. They get to 17, 18, girls start coming to play, like going out, having a few beers, start coming to play. And then that's when people who maybe weren't as talented going to catch them up with hard work and determination and stuff. So I was always, as a kid, I was very talented, but like that was always backed up and some with my work ethic and my desire. And you said that, like, I remember there's 2 lads on the squad. Well, Andrew Selby's a flyweight Welsh lad on the GB squad. Probably the most talented boxer I've ever seen. Some of the stuff he could do. Like, I watched him spar against like some elite boxers, about like Kazakhs and Germans and Russians, and he'd box their ears off. I'd go, how have you done that? Like, how do you do that? He's like, I don't know. And he had no idea. He was just so naturally gifted that he could do that. But then when he turned pro, like, all that talent, it's in the professional ranks, it's like, the fights are longer. You do 10, 12 rounds. 15 back in the olden days. And like, what's that phrase? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Like people can be the most talented person in the world. But if you get taken to the trenches, all of a sudden your talent don't count for much. Then it becomes about will and desire and determination. So I always had that as well. In abundance, growing up, I always had a lot of like desire, because I saw my mum work her ass off. She was a nurse her entire life. She was a carer. She'd come home from the nursing home, and some old like senile bloke would have slapped her or kicked her or punched her. Because eventually she was a nurse. She was a psychiatric nurse, so she'd work with like the schizophrenic people who weren't in control of their body, their brain, their emotions. And so I'd sit and I'd see her work so hard and come home and raise kids. I'm like, I don't want that for my life. I'd see her at the end of halfway through the month crying, how like not knowing how she's going to pay the bill for the rest of the month. That'd break my heart. Even as a kid, that'd break my heart. So I used to think, I'm going to work so hard at sport because that's the one thing I'm really good at. So I never have to go through that myself. And I want to have a better life than my mum had and provide a better childhood that my mum did an amazing job with what she had. She raised 5 kids who all turned out really well. I said earlier, like I was like clever at school. all my 4 sisters have got degrees. I'm the one who hasn't got a degree, and I'm probably the smartest one. So she's raised like 5 really like good kids. She did an amazing job. I just want more for my kids, And I think that's just natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I forgot I was going with that story, but yeah, growing up as a kid, started boxing at 12, and I remember I walked into the boxing gym the first day, and I had no idea if I was going to be any good or not, because it was so alien to what I'd done before. I played football to a high level, I swam at a national level, but boxing is different. And I walked in, and before even putting on a glove, I walked in, I smelled the boxing gym, I saw the Muhammad Ali pictures, I saw the boxing bags, and a big dustbin full of gloves.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And I knew that whether I was good or not, this is where I was going to be. The next a big chapter. I thought actually the rest of my life, but obviously things happened and injuries happened and I had to leave. But I thought for a large chunk of my life, this is me. This is me. I was just so happy.
That unique smell of a boxing gym, isn't it? It's like you can't bottle that. I mean, you can go all your David Lloyds and all this, like whatever they're called, but you can't beat a grassroots like a proper stinky gym.
Nah. But don't get me wrong, I don't want my missus to smell of it, coming to bed. But I love the smell. It's something you can't. And the thing is, I don't know if it's like, obviously you got the sweat, you got the like dried blood. Like dried blood's got a funny smell, like a unique smell. The smell is, it's you always smell the fear and little boys coming to the gym and having to spar for the first time. Little girls as well now. It's just it's a beautiful thing. And if you don't get it, if you listen to this or watching this and you've never been in the boxing gym before, or you have and you think it's disgusting, which there is, you don't get it. You just don't get it. And if you don't get it, you're never going to get it. But if you do get it, you get it.
Yeah, I love it. It's the thing is as well, it's often, like you said with boxing, you don't know how you're going to react or if you're going to like it until you take that first shot on the nose. I think because years ago we done, we was doing karate for a long time, and it weren't until we transferred to kickboxing. It's a non-contact. It weren't until you got that first smack in the nose, and you're like, this is a bit
different.
Yeah. Isn't it?
100%. And again, like when I first went to the boxing gym, I went with a lad called Aaron Cooper, a friend of mine from school. We were both in year 7. He was really talented, really good, punched hard, but he was born to be a boxer. He was quite small. We were kids then. He was probably like 30-odd kilos, but we were 12, 13. He had long arms. He had big gorilla arms, right? His knuckles dragged on the floor. He had a small little body and a small little head. So he's like a gorilla, like a little white gorilla. And so he had a small target area, but long arms. So he tucked up. He covered his whole body.
Yeah.
And he'd be the other side of the ring and third jab when it hit you. And he had all the tools to be good. He just didn't have that the one thing you need, that desire, the bite down on the gumshoe when it gets tough. And also he didn't like getting hit. And with all his skill and ability, he took a punch and his arsehole went and he was no good. So you're right, mate. Like, in football you go goal down. In rugby you go try down. In swimming you come second. In athletics you come second or third. In boxing you get punched in the face. And that says a lot about a person's character. And that's why, like, you see a lot of people, I remember a couple of years ago, like, white collar boxing was all the rage. Everyone was doing I'm going to do a white collar boxing fight. And then people ask my opinion, what do I think of it? And I'd go, fair play to it, mate. If they train, like, the necessary amount of time to make sure they're safe, because boxing is, it's not a place for a mug. It's, as you know, it's serious stuff. Yeah. If you train and you've got a good coach and your coach does a fair match, doesn't put you in with somebody who knows what they're doing, I think it's a great thing, because you learn so much about yourself in a ring, in a 3 2-minute fight, in 6 minutes. You learn so much about yourself and what you do and how you react to get punched in the face in the boxing ring. I wholeheartedly believe that's exactly how you're going to react in real life. Like when life punches you in the face, how you act in boxing, exact same how you can act outside, And obviously when I say life, it means like, an illness to yourself, to a loved one, losing your job, getting dumped by your missus or your husband. Like when life punches you in your face, how do you react? Yeah. And I think I generally think everyone should have one fight just to learn, just learn about themselves and just to learn about themselves. Really, I think it's the most amazing sport in the world.
It's so different training to fighting, isn't it? That I remember the first fight I had in the ring. Like, I remember thinking I was really confident at doing 3-minute rounds. I thought, 3-minute round, I'm ready for it. I could do 3-minute rounds. I think I was that first fight with the adrenaline, with all your family out there, and you come out 30 seconds. I thought it was the end of the round. I'd only been in there 30 seconds.
Yeah,
you're blowing, aren't you?
and also, like our age. I mean, I'm a young whippersnapper compared to you.
Yeah, you are. You really are.
No, just taking a piss. But like our generation, like when I remember my first fight, my first 20 fights, I'd walk to the boxing gym, and the old boys at the front smoking their cigars at the old dinner shows and stuff. They're smoking their smoking cigars, and I was 12. Walk to the ring. So before I get in the ring, I'm coughing my guts up of matey boy's fucking cigar.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to contend with that, but the adrenaline, the nerves. Like you said, you can spar, and that's what's different. Again, it's different. Like you can play a friendly in football, against a good team, and maybe 5, 10, 15% that spice isn't quite there because it's friendly. And on match day, it's a bit more spicy, but you've done 90 minutes. But you can spar until you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
You walk in the ring on fight night. Different. It's just different. It's just all that nervous energy. You're shitting yourself. You're excited. You're a bit scared. You're worried. The gloves are smaller. Like honestly, like preparation is key to anything in life. And if you prepare incorrectly, if you let the nerves, I boxed once. I boxed in Beijing in 2007 at the Olympic test event. So every Olympic Games, they have a test event the year before, where they basically test everything, the rings, everything.
Yeah.
I boxed in Beijing 2007. And I boxed a Frenchman, and he actually won a bronze in those Olympics. And I beat him. I lost the fight, but I boxed really well.
Yeah.
I must have beat him. I robbed by 6-7 points. I boxed really, really well. Yeah. However, as back then, I was 40-minute rounds back then. The first 2 rounds it was neck and neck. First 2 rounds, maybe he was just up. Last 2 rounds, I boxed really, really well, but I didn't get the nod. But the first 2 rounds, I was so nervous to box well. I put so much pressure on myself. I was so nervous. I went to the ring. I was like, I'd use so much like energy, like just nervous energy, because I wanted to box so well. And then that done me. Had I been more relaxed like before and after, I'd have beat him easily. Yeah. So that fight taught me, you can't. It sounds silly. You can't want it too bad. Well, you can want it too bad. You can. You can want it, but if you control yourself, control the nerves. You use the nerves. Don't let the nerves use you. And each fight you learn something, win or lose. And I was always quite good at even when I won, I learned stuff. And a lot of people when they win, they don't learn. They just I won, doesn't matter. Yeah. I always learned my lessons, and that fight, my lesson was don't let my nerves I think it's what Rocky says, called the Frankie Fear. I think Rocky 5, Frankie Fear. Frankie Fear is your best friend. Yeah. Let him heighten your sharpen your skills rather than eat away at you. So yeah, mate. Is this a boxing podcast?
No.
It's a boxing podcast. Yeah.
No. It is. Well, I love fighting, so I can't help but go there.
Oh, of course.
But there is, we'll talk about other things, but I've always loved fighting. I've spent the kids' inheritance on watching fighting. I've been
good lad.
I went to Ricky Hatton, see him fight Mayweather.
Oh wow!
I saw Kawasaki against Jones.
Cool.
And then I got into UFC, and I've been all over the place to see that. I met a lot of the fighters.
Nice.
And and you say that, and that's the thing about this fighting spirit. I've seen guys. I mean, Uriah Faber, when he was fighting, he broke both his hands in the first round, and it was a main event. So they had 5 rounds, 5-minute rounds, and he fought the rest of it with his elbows and his knees. It's literally 2 broken hands. And then you see a footballer, and they're lying on the floor, aren't they? It's hard to. It's such a different thing, isn't it, to see that?
Right. Disrespect. That Italian fella that in the semi or quarter final that when he jumped on the floor, then they scored and they got up and nothing happened. What a dickhead!
I know.
if his mates don't mug him off for the rest of his natural born life,
Yeah.
for doing that, then they're not mates. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
oh mate, what a dick. Speak there, you're right. You're
No.
right. And it's just, you know, it's just, yeah. I mean, that's a whole different.
It's a different
can of worms.
I think on a serious note, though, I mean, we joke about it, but on a serious note, that's no message for kids. You know, like we say, the message, you know, the fighting message that about what life is like, it carries a great message to young people. But when you see, you know, like cheating prosper, you know, and all those things, it's not a good thing for kids to see.
Yeah, no, and that Chiellini, when he yanked Bukayo Saka back, didn't he? And then they went on a win, and he's like, stuff like that. It's like, come on, mate. Like, Italy were the better team, probably deserved to win the Euros, you know. Yeah. But don't cheat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the same. And I'm all for a bit of gamesmanship, and I'm going to be honest. Like, I got done once in 2006. I got cheated once in the final, punched in the back of the head, and that really knocked my confidence. And after that, I realised that, like, that was, again, I told you, I learned from those, like, different situations in life. And that situation taught me that life ain't fair, mate. No, I got done badly. Life ain't fair. And after that, I thought, and I never cheated, never, and I never did cheat, never cut any corners, always did. But when the bell goes, I've spat my gum shot out to buy a few seconds here and there when my legs were a bit wobbly. I've hit low a couple of times. If he's hit me low, I've hit him low back. Because before, if I hit low here at the back of the head, I'll carry on boxing. It's the referee's job to say, all right, no more of that. But after a while, it's like, nah, if I'm going to get hit back in the head, like, no one's there, you know, like, no one's there to protect you. If you get hit low, hit him back low. If you get headbutt him back. You know, you know, so I'm all for gamesmanship, but there's a fine line between gamesmanship and just pure cheating. And know what kids like. Like, I remember being a kid. I remember I got told off in year 5 once. I was at a school football tournament, and I was captain of our team, and I was spitting. I kept spitting a lot. I kept spitting like. So I'd seen Roy Keane spit on Match of the Day. Yeah. Like, and the kept spitting. And my teacher was like, what are you doing, mate? Like, I'm spitting. I was like, I didn't need to spit. I was just doing what I saw on TV. Yeah. I got subbed off and we lost. Yeah. So that taught me. But yeah, kids copy what they see from people they look up to. And fortunately or unfortunately, you know, they look up to footballers a lot, and sometimes they don't behave very well on and off the pitch.
Oh, who's that footballer? I want to punch him as soon as I see his face. Suarez, I think his name is.
What a dickhead!
He bites people, doesn't he? You think, how can you bite someone more than once? How can you not be like thrown out of the sport when you bite? I mean, you know, I'll forgive Mike Tyson for doing it, but I won't. But I won't. Well, you should have done that, should he? What am I saying?
But he done that because he wanted it out, didn't he? He just wanted it out. He was getting beat behind him, didn't know what to do, and that kind of added to
as well. He's a natural born killer, and he's going to do what's got to be done in there. I remember seeing.
But you're right, Suarez, little dickhead, and he's also got done for racially abusing Everett as well. And and I support Norwich, and every time we played Liverpool, he banged hat-trick in against us. So like, I don't like him because he's actually really good. But that's the annoying thing. Like, I'm the first person when I go to football. I'm the first person if the other team's having a worldie and their star man gets subbed off, I'm the first person to stand and give them a clap. Yeah. But I don't mind applauding other people because, like, if they're good, then I don't care what they pay for. They're good. Yeah. But when you're don't be a dickhead with it as well. You know, don't be you know. So
That's the tagline of this. We'll put # don't be a dickhead. This has been the show. The message of the show, don't be a dickhead. So tell me about the Olympics. It must have been such a... I mean, I went, you know, as a spectator, and I think they've done an amazing job, London. But what, like...
Oh, mate, so it's a weird one. I don't know if you know or not, but the Olympics to me was a real odd time for me. My mum, so... It was quite a long story. I'll try to kind of like
all right.
Cut it down. So I had the most horrific qualification process. I dislocated my shoulder. I was out for a large stretch. I had to watch people that are beaten on better than, qualify for Olympic Games. My Olympics seemed all but over. I had to rehab a 12-month shoulder recovery into 4 months. So you can imagine the pain. And obviously, after the 4 months, my shoulder was nowhere near ready to fight, but I had no choice but to fight. They weren't going to move to the Olympics because I was injured. So the pain involved is horrendous. I go back to the qualifier. I overturned the 6-point deficit. So back when I was boxing, they've changed now in amateur boxing. But back when I was boxing, to land a point, you got to there's 5 judges around the ring, and to score a point, you've got to land a punch, a clean punch, and 3 of the 5 judges have got to press your button within 1 second of each other. That's how you get a point. I was 6 points down going to the last round in my qualifying fight against the Georgian, because the Georgian was the guy the year before that I boxed who dislocated my shoulder. So all it, and I had the surgery and I had the rehab, put it all down to him. So it's his fault. So I hate the man. So first 2 rounds I boxed like an idiot. I lost my head. I didn't box him. I just a punch up.
Yeah.
I was 6 points down going to the last round. So a bit of context: the previous 4-year Olympic cycle from Beijing to London, not one person in elite international boxing had ever overturned a 3-point deficit going into the last round. 4 points was unimaginable. 5 points was impossible. And I was 6 points down. So my Olympic dreams, I'd gone through all the rehab, everything to be basically, not on the plane or the bus to London. I worked harder in this last round than I've ever worked in my entire life. I worked so hard that I gave myself exercise-induced asthma. So even now, when I go for a long run, I've got to take a silly little brown inhaler before I go. I worked that hard. I beat him, overturned a 6-point deficit, which no one thought I could do. I finally qualified. From that fight, my first fight, I had 6 weeks before the Olympic Games. We had a week off at home to celebrate becoming an Olympian. We trained up in Sheffield. The Great Britain team, we trained in Sheffield. And then I went to Sheffield. We trained the Monday to Friday. Went up on a Monday, did my run. Tuesday morning, had a phone call from my sister, like 8:20 on a Tuesday. A bit weird. Answered it. It's my sister, Joanne, screaming down the phone, crying her eyes out, saying, "Andy, you gotta get home now because Mum, she's about to die." I've gone, fuck. My mum, my hero, who raised me, my sister, she had a brain aneurysm that morning and was in a really, really bad way. So jumped in the car, flew home. And I stayed by my mum's side for the next 4 weeks, didn't do a thing, didn't throw a punch, didn't do a sit-up, didn't do anything. She should have died that night. She had a really bad bleed in the back of her brain. And, and if she was going to die, I didn't want to leave her side, And I was my mum's next of kin. And I left once. I left my wife. She was my girlfriend back then, my wife now. She's in the kitchen next door. I left. It must have been, I hired a little B&B next to the Adam Brooks Hospital in Cambridge. And then I was there for the first 9-10 days. Then I've come home. The doctor said to me, "Look, we can't do anything else. It's now, we had 3 or 4 surgeries in that first week and a half. But now just got to see what happens. Just go home." So I've gone home, right? I got home 10, 11, went to my bed. I lived at home at the time. So my mum's house, without my mum there. Went home. My wife was with me. We were in bed. And on my mum's next of kin. So my phone was on me all the time because if they called me to let me know anything happened, I had to answer the phone. So I'm lying there in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. Adam Brooks Hospital. I go, "Oh my God," and I'm squeezing my wife's hand. I said, "Casey, I can't answer it. I can't answer it." I was Adam and I was going to be a phone call saying she just died. She helped me answer me. "You okay? I've got you." So I answered the phone, said hello, and tears down my face. They said, "Your mum," they had done a surgery the day or 2 before, and something had gone wrong. There's a really, really, really big build-up of pressure in my mum's head. They said, "We've got to do this emergency surgery now, otherwise she won't be here in the morning. But it's really risky. We need your permission to do it because it's a risky one." I went, "Yeah, do the surgery. Just do the surgery." And I was like, and my heart pumped through my chest. I got back on my car, drove back there. And I thought, I'm not leaving now. I need to be here. So, and that was it. So after a few days, my sisters and my wife said to me, "Look, you've got to do the Olympic Games. You've worked your entire life for it. They're in London. You can't not do it." They said, "When Mum gets better." And at this point, nobody thought she was going to get better because she was so ill all the time. But when mum gets better, she's going to feel awful knowing that you pulled out because of her. So probably guilt trip me. I was like, I've got a choice now. If I don't do him, and if she does survive, she will feel awful.
Yeah.
If I do him, if she doesn't survive, I'm just in the head. So anyway, so I went to Sheffield. I thought I'll go. We had 1 week of training left, and it was a family and friends day. So everybody else, I didn't. They were in the hospital, but everybody else had their family and friends there. Like watching them train for one last day of training. And then I hadn't thrown a punch, hadn't done anything in a month. I had one sparring session. My phone was in my pocket in case they called again.
Yeah.
I threw a sloppy jab. Fred Evans slips out. Boom. Body shot. Break my rib. Oh, fucking hell. I got through, mate, can make up. This is my life. This is my life is a catalogue of these things. I could tell you some stories. You'd go, well, that sounds made up. I'd go, yeah, it does. Because it does. But it happened.
Yeah.
And I've got all the medical records and stuff to prove everything's happened to me. So I sit on the ring apron, got through the spar. I'm sweating my tits off from the spar, or vaseline on my face. And the sweat is kind of doing a bad job of masquerading my tears. I was crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
I sat there, and Rob McCracken comes over to me, who's the head coach of the GB squad.
Yeah.
He goes, mate, he went, look, he said, you've got to do these Olympic Games. He went, sometimes, he tried to give me this rousing speech, and he ruined it at the beginning because I knew where it was going. He goes, sometimes in life, like, things happen, right? And you got a choice. You either quit or you crack on. He went, I'm like, yeah. And I've always been that way, way inclined anyway. And he goes, on a day, because his lead charge back then was Carl Froch, WBC super middleweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
He goes, when Carl Froch fought Jean Pascal for the world title, on the morning of the fight, my mum collapsed. He went, I had to, do I stay with her? Do I take Carl through to his world title fight? So I'd take Carl's now world champion and he's a millionaire and whatever. I knew that Froch's mum died. No, sorry, that Rob's mum died from a stroke, I think it was. So he's come over to me to tell me this rousing speech to give me a pick-me-up.
Yeah.
And the takeaway I'm taking there is, yeah, but your mum died, which means my mum's going to die.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was thinking.
Yeah.
And he's walked off. Must have been proud of himself for like doing this Coach Carter-esque speech. I'm thinking, you've just put my mum in a coffin. Cheers, Rob. Fuck. So I sat down the ring apron, right? Shut my tits off. My shoulder was dislocated, as I said. I could throw a straight punch, but it wasn't very hard. No uppercuts, no hooks. I could just do that.
Yeah.
The rib was broken. I had tears in my Achilles tendons, which would later require me to have 4 surgeries and miss 2 years of boxing. And worst of all, I thought my mum was going to die. I'm never going to see her again. And that was my build-up to Olympic Games. It was brutal. It was hard, mate. And then I went to London, had a really, really hard draw. Very proud of myself. In my second fight, I fought the Ukrainian, who was the world champion. Hadn't lost in over 2 years. Ran the world champ. Won the world, the first Olympic qualifier. I think he had 6 fights, knocked out 5. Smashed the Japanese guy in the final. Smashed him to bits. Like easily the best middleweight in the world. Nobody gave me a chance against boxing. No one gave me a chance. I was going to beat him. To the point where, when you go to the Olympics and stuff and the big major tournaments, the head coach and the team manager goes to the draw. Everyone weighs in the morning, the first day competition, and then the draw happens. We come back and the team manager and the team coach talk us through the draw, and they go through the weights. You're boxing him. If you win, you're boxing him, and you're boxing him, and so on and so forth. They came to me. And I was the first boxer to box in London on the first day of competition, on the first Saturday. He goes to me, and Matt Holt, the team manager, he goes, and you're boxing tomorrow, as you know, against the Dominican. I said, sweet. He goes, does this. He goes, and if you win, you got the Ukrainian. And I thought, you prick.
Yeah.
You prick. That, I'll never forget that inhale of breath. And that, I know exactly what that meant. That meant, look at me, you've got no chance of winning this fight.
Yeah.
Like, even when you were fit and healthy, you wouldn't have won this fight. But at least, like, he knew what I'd been through. My mum, illness had come out and the injuries. That was at least you can say you're an Olympian. At least you've got the tracksuit.
Yeah.
And I thought, you fucking watch. You just watch. So I beat the Dominican the day before. That's a really hard fight, actually. Really, really hard fight. Big southpaw, hit really hard. I beat him on the first day. I boxed the Ukrainian in. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but you know, even an unbiased person, I think, would concur. The best fight in the Olympic Games history, bar none.
Yeah.
A banger, unbelievable fight, to the point where the final score was 18-all. I was countback. As I said, like when you score a point, like your judges have got press the button within 1 second. 3 of the 5 judges. When there's a draw, a countback, it goes back to a countback. Which they do, they tally up all the points irrespective of the 1 second rule. So you might be a judge might see you're watching the boxing, and the punch comes in and they miss it. Then I see the head go back, and then they press, and that might be outside the 1 second. Yeah. So they tally all the scores up. The final, and I boxed my entire life, right? And I've never seen this before. Nobody ever had. I don't think it ever happened before. Never in Olympic Games. The countback score was 52-52. No. Never happened before. So the referee, there's a 5-minute wait for like 3 hours. I was in the middle of the ring after the fight, waiting to know if I'd won or lost. And the referee has generally done this. He's gone, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Because there wasn't a protocol for this because it never happened. So he went to all 5 judges around the ring, who do you reckon won the fight? And all 5 judges said me. And I won the fight in the most unbelievable circumstances. And Jim Neely, the old BBC commentator, said the most amazing line. To put, I've got a little gym in my garage out back, and I've got these words emblazoned on the wall. The most amazing line. Like, there's a few, and I'm glad this never kind of got not the respect, but never hit the heights I wanted it to. Had I had the career I thought I would have had, these words would have been everywhere, I believe. But it's like, to me, it was they think it's all over. It is now. Or remember the name, Wayne Rooney. Yeah. Jim Neely says he's done it at Ogogo. He's beat the world number 1. Oh my Lord, what an upset. That has to be one of the greatest performances for any British boxer in any amateur boxing ring around the world in any century. And those words, man, they make me tingle, because it was. Then Richie Woodall comes in. He goes, oh, he's done it. What an upset. He's done it. I'm so proud of your son. His mum's in hospital. He did that for his mum. I'm so proud of you, Anthony. And I'm like, I get goosebumps talking about that now. Yeah. And that was my Olympic final for many aspects, because nobody thought I was going to win when I beat him. Yeah. My next fight, I fought a German, really, really good German, really big, really tough, really strong. I beat him quite comfortably. And then my next fight was against a Brazilian. And I was better than this Brazilian, to the point where the German, Ukrainian, and Dominican had all beaten that Brazilian, like that Olympic year. They'd all beaten him within those previous 8 months. But he beat me. Brazilian beat me. And I was really bitter about it for a long time. I still am a little bit. I'm not really bitter. I get it now, but I was bitter about it for a long time, because I was just bollocks, mate. By the time I got to the semi-final, I was just done. I had nothing. I was running on fumes from the Ukrainian fight, and just sheer desire alone took me past the German. Yeah. But Brazilian was one step too far. And there's this bit in the fight I remember. I don't remember any of it, but there's one bit in the fight I remember. I can't. He's southpaw. He's coming through, back out and fight. The Dominican I fought in the first fight was a bigger, better, faster, more awkward southpaw than the Brazilian. But as I said, I had nothing, And then he's hit me. I think it was round 2. He hit me down a pipe, and I've gone down my back. And the Ukrainian I boxed was the hardest punching man on planet Earth. Oh my goodness, he hit so hard. Like, he hit me so. I had my gloves on, head guard. I was tucking up. He was hitting me so hard through my arms that my legs were wobbling through my arms, even though I was blocking the punch. Yeah, mate, machine, right? He punched way harder than the Brazilian, a million times harder. But this Brazilian has dropped me. And I lied there, looking up at the lights, thinking, fucking hell. I mean, and I wanted the canvas just engulfed me. I wanted to go home. I didn't want to be there anymore, because I knew I wasn't going to win, because no matter how much I wanted it, I couldn't. I just had no energy. I couldn't move my feet. I couldn't punch. I couldn't slip. Yeah. I was boxed in mud. I got stuck in the mud. I just couldn't do anything. Yeah. I fucking hell, I'm not going to win. I just want to quit. And for a split second, I thought, fuck it, referee can count me out. I'm not getting back up. I don't want to get back up.
Yeah.
And then I thought, my mum's in hospital, and she's actually like literally fighting for her life.
Yeah.
I thought, how can I give up? How can I stop fighting? You know, in a boxing match, my mum's actually fighting for her life. Well, I wouldn't be a true son of hers if I just like bitched out and went out like that. So I got up. And I was actually really proud of this moment. I didn't want it. I got up. I thought, fuck, I'm going to fighting to the final bell. And I was punching. I won the last round. I was hitting it. I was punching. I was trying my little best. But it wasn't enough when he won. And I was gutted because the Ukrainian that I beat, who smashed the Japanese guy in the final of the world, Japanese won the gold medal. Right. And the Ukrainian was way better than the Japanese player. They're way better. And I beat him. I would have smashed. I'd have easily picked up a Japanese guy. I'd have boxed his ears off. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. I was, I think under the circumstances, I've done an unbelievable job to even just get there. Let alone have the fight I had. Let alone pick up a medal. So I'm proud of myself now. Yeah. But for the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years after the Olympics, I struggled with it because I was bitter that people that I thought weren't as good as me won gold medals and earned loads of money. And I didn't earn the money or get the gold medal that I thought I should have had. But that's life, mate. That's life, and you've got to kind of get back up and crack on.
Well, that there is the message. There is the message that we said about earlier that's crucial for people to learn from these things. I mean, the fact that you, even with all of that you've just said to me, I just felt all of that, mate. And for you to even get there, to even participate with everything against you, is the win, isn't it? That is the goal for people to realise that you can get through. If you can get through all of that and then still get there, And there is a point where you hit that when you're in the mud, because But there again, and I actually have been on the canvas, and I know that feeling of like, fuck it, I ain't getting up. And then there's something inside that goes, fuck it, I am getting up. That funny thing. But deep down, you think, oh no, I'm going to pretend I'm out. So,
pretend I've broken my ankle or something. Yeah, but you're right, mate. It's the why, isn't it? It's like it's your why. Why are you going to get back up? Like why? I think we've all got a why, and if you've got a strong why, it gets us through certain things which otherwise we wouldn't have if we didn't have a why. And my why was, I've got to make my mum proud, and I've got to carry on fighting because she's fighting. And that's why I got up, and I tried my best.
And what's mum's name?
Teresa. Oh, and the best thing is, so I've gone home and she had many, many more operations, and it's been 9 years on, but she's still here today. She's still alive, touch wood, still doing really well, still alive, which is the most amazing thing. Obviously she has issues now which she didn't have before, but as I said, mate, I've been with her to appointments and stuff where doctors have said to me, look, it's an actual miracle she's still alive, because and one of those ones where like, so June 2012 her aneurysm, and prior to that I knew what an aneurysm was, but I didn't know anybody who had one. No, I didn't, but now since she had one, I'm way more aware of it, and I know lots of people have had them, and so many people, mum's age, younger than my mum, a lot younger than mum actually, they've had them, and pretty much they've all died, and haven't been as bad as my mum's. So for that, I mean, you've got to be so thankful for that, so thankful. So sorry for those guys that have lost their lives and their people and their family that have obviously got to live now without their mums and dads and aunties and uncles and stuff. But yeah, so thankful for her still being here, and I wouldn't have changed that for the world, obviously.
So then I saw, actually, in one day, we've got to have a cup of tea with your mum, haven't we? I'd love to meet her one day. I've been fortunate enough to meet the boss. I've met your wife now, so I know who's in charge. So, but
100%.
But I'd love to meet your mum one day. She sounds an absolute diamond, So hopefully one day. But so you then, when your career finished, you weren't finished. You've gone on to wrestling.
So there's a big chunk on our breeze. It's not that exciting. Actually, it is quite exciting. There's a lot of lessons in there, but I don't want to bore everyone with coulda, woulda, shouldas. But I'll turn pro after that. And I thought, you know what, I'm now going to become a world champ, and I'm going to put, because I had a choice to make actually. Like I wasn't that. I'm quite unique in the fact that most kids start boxing and they want to become the next Mike Tyson and earn loads of money and have the belts around the waist. I wasn't bothered. Like, I actually wasn't bothered. Like, genuinely, I'd have been. There's a massive part of me, and you don't know what would have happened, but there's a massive part of me. Had I won a gold medal in London, I'd have retired from boxing. I wasn't fussed about turning pro. It didn't really appeal to me that much, really. I was like, nah, like there's other things I want to do. There's other things I want to do and other skills I want to use. I never wanted to be just a boxer. I wanted to do more stuff.
Yeah.
And I always think, how am I going to top? Because when you're boxing Olympic Games, everyone in Britain wants you to win because you're boxing for them. And in London, packed out XL Arena with the flag, with the Union flag. I mean, you don't. But when you turn pro, now it's split. Now it's divided. In the Olympics, everyone wanted Joshua to win. Now it's fighting Tyson Fury. Now it's 50-50. And it's like, it's just. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't bothered. And I had a choice to make. Do I stay 4 more years and try to go to Rio, and right this wrong of not winning the gold medal in Rio, or do I turn professional? And I had this thing like what I had done. At this point, I had no idea if my mum was going to live or not. She was still literally touch and go for months in the coma, still having surgery on her brain, like still touch and go very much so. And I thought, I'd wrap the Olympics and my mum's illness together, like they become one.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go through 3.5, 4 more years of boxing in Lithuania and going to Iceland and these shitty little places, boxing these shitty little tournaments people don't see, to go to the Olympic Games again and all those memories come flooding back and to have some kind of PTSD about it. I didn't want that. So I thought, I'm going to turn pro, I'm going to reframe my goals. Now my Olympic gold medal is the world middleweight title. And now I want to become Britain's best middleweight world champion. That is my goal. And it's well attainable. Up until a point when I turned pro, we had 3 or 4 middleweight world champions, and combined, had 8 successful world title defenses combined. 5 world champions with 8 successful defenses combined, all 5. I wanted to do that on my own. I wanted to have like 8, 10 world title defenses myself. That was my goal, and that's what I was working towards. Turned pro, the shoulder came out again in the fight of mine, which I carried on and won. The Achilles went. I had 4 surgeries on my Achilles over 2 years to get back in the ring. And then I was on the cusp of a world title fight. Then I fractured my eye socket in a fight, had the wrong surgery, got misdiagnosed, ended up having 9 surgeries on my eye over 3 years to try to get back in the ring. And I had 2 injections in my eye, which one injection is damaged the nerve. So I'm 78% blind on my left eye now. I can't see on my left eye. So after spending a lot of money on surgeries and stuff, I had to retire from boxing. Heartbroken. 30 years old, still a young man, so much ambition and drive, desire left. I hadn't achieved my goals in amateur boxing or professional boxing. And now the best of the vehicle, which had always had the injuries and stuff, but it had always been there for me, now it's let me down. I was like, fuck, now I can't be a boxer, And I had to retire. And I was absolutely crestfallen, but it's life, It's just like, what are you going to do? Yeah. I sulked for a while. I was bitter more so. I was pissed off. I was angry all the time. I just thought, I don't want to be this guy. Like, this guy that's jealous of other guys because they can live out I'd always say, oh, I'm annoyed. People say to me, are you watching boxing this weekend? I'll go, why? So I can watch this shit bag live out my dream. Yeah. I'll go live out like it as well. Yeah. Live out my dream. It's like, and it's taking, but it's also their dream. They're living out their dream. Yeah. And I was so bitter that no, I'm not watching it. And I don't watch a lot now. It's hurtful still. I'm still not quite there yet because it still breaks my heart that I can't do what I have to do. Yeah. But I'm at a place in my life now. It's like I'm cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to win the gold medal or the world title as a pro. Ideally, would like to have won both. And I think I had the skills and the ability and the determination to do so. It wasn't to be. No. So I got to crack on and move on. So I had to retire, and that's when I got into wrestling. Yeah. Because it was much a case of like, what else do I like? I don't know what else I like. Man, from 12 years old, when I walked in the gym, as I mentioned earlier, I walked in the gym at 12 years old. I walked in the boxing gym. I thought, this is me, man. I'm happy here. I don't want to leave this place. This is where I'm going to be. And I was now 30 and I wasn't allowed to be a boxer anymore. I can't show the mortgage man my Olympic medal from 9 years ago and say, don't charge me this month.
Yeah.
Because I won a medal like a long time ago. I got a roof to pay for. I've got bills, got to eat food. Yeah. But on top of that, I've got dreams and ambitions I still want to fulfill.
Yeah.
And wrestling is the closest thing I could have found to boxing. Obviously very different, but the closest thing I could have found to tick a lot of the boxes that boxing ticked for me. And actually, it doesn't tick all of them because it's very different. But actually, it ticks other things as well. It ticks some boxes that boxing never ticked for me. So it's a great, it's hard, very tough, but it's a great career change. And I'm as of now, I'm really enjoying myself.
Yeah. Well, I saw in lockdown, I saw that at the beginning of lockdown, as we were all getting fatter, you actually was really training hard.
Yeah.
Because you could sort of see that you had that, your spark reignited, because maybe it was at the end of the period, very depressing time. Like we can get, I understand about that thing of bitterness is a real tangible depressant, and we get in such a low place that I've been through a lot of that myself. And it's finding a lot of people don't get past that. See, a lot of people don't get beyond that depressive state, they don't, but you need a new focus, you need a new goal, and yours was that, and you could sort of see it start, and then the training started, and you're looking good now, my friend, but you worked really hard, didn't you, for that?
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I appreciate that. Really, thank you, Stuart. I have worked really hard. It's been tough, but that's because I didn't achieve my dreams, and I've still got so much ambition left in me.
Yeah.
And I need to dispel it, and as all I know is working hard. That's all I know. That's all I ever saw growing up with my mum and my sisters. We had to work hard,
Yeah.
So I've worked hard. And I could have picked. There are other things I could have done. Of course, I could have earned more money. I got offered more money to sit at a commentary desk in boxing and talk about boxing, what I already knew. Yeah. I know boxing inside and out. Yeah. I know all the fighters. Like I can talk. That is an easy job for me to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't because I got offered more money than I got offered to do the wrestling. But I thought. One, I wasn't ready to. It breaks my heart, as I said, watching people box. And two, I thought, no, I don't want to. I've still got things I need to do. Like I've got an itch I need to scratch. Yeah. And wrestling will do that for me. And like you said, it gave me a lease of life. And actually, my friend said to me recently, like I was talking to him, I sent him a voice message about what I was doing in America and stuff. And and he said, mate, after a real shit few years that you've had, as much as anybody, I'm so happy that you're happy again. You can hear my voice. I'm happy again, talking about what I'm doing and what's coming on and storylines and ideas and this and that and doing moves and stuff. So it's cool. It is cool, It is really cool.
And you're the governor.
I'm the governor. I'm the governor, mate, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm the governor.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, what I want to do in this chapter of my life, in this chapter of my career, when I was boxing, I was always injured, right? So I had these big injuries and stuff, and I was most marketable, or most marketed boxer on the British circuit. So I was sponsored by Nike, Subway, Maxi Muscle. I did a bit of work with Coca-Cola and all these real top brand like deals and endorsement deals. So I had to be my best behavior all the time because I thought, and if I was boxing and winning, knock people out and doing really well, then I could have relaxed because I was doing the business in the ring. Because I was injured all the time, I wasn't doing the business in the ring. I was injured, so I couldn't go on Twitter and call somebody out. But I couldn't just show my true personality. Yeah. I'm a nice dude, but I've got personality. Yeah. Yeah. I've got things to say. Yeah. If I want to call somebody a dickhead, I'll call him a dickhead. But because I was like, I can't say that because Nike might
Yeah.
release me. And because I was injured, I needed that money to survive.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, my career was over. And I never actually really got to show the true British boxing fans me, you know, and which I was gutted about. And even on the Great Britain team, on the GB squad, they don't really like personalities. So you're part of the Team GB is the thing, and you're just a spoke on the wheel. They want you to kind of be quite regimented, which is cool. I get it, you know, that's part of it. But when you turn pro, that's when you get the show, like be the showman.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a showman, but I never really got to be the showman.
No.
But when now in wrestling, I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be me, like unapologetically me. And I'm a bad guy in wrestling, and I am being me, just a bad bit of me, which is great. I could just be a dickhead.
Oh,
and I go,
it's an alter ego. That's the wonderful thing about that. You know, that sport is that you can have this real alter ego, and you have an exaggerated version. We've all got them versions in them, haven't we? And you do get a bit sick of it, you know. Like I'm the nice homeless guy, you know, who goes around. But I mean, I'm a dickhead. I mean, if you
I've heard, mate. Dave's told me.
Well, I'm a retired dickhead. I ain't got energy anymore. But yeah, you know, and even my family, they go, "Cool." Then people think you're so nice. They don't realise what a miserable old shit you are, you know. But but it's great, and you can't be one thing all the time, and you want to express that. And there's that great sort of, you know, it's a channel to express yourself, you know. And I'm really looking forward to see how you get on with it, you know. And I really got to say, I mean, now I've spoken to you before, but you know, after speaking to you for this time, before we sort of finish it up, I do want to say, you know, you are a fighter. You know, like there's fighters in life, there's fighters in sport, but then, you know, you're both, and you're a great example to people to never give up. And I really appreciate that in you. And I think it's a great. And when we're saying about kids nowadays, they need a lesson. They need a lesson in life. There's too many people showing people the wrong way, and you're a great example of overcoming stuff. And you know, I appreciate that because I've had to do that a bit. And so, you know, you've got my full respect, sir. Good luck with everything you do. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Maybe we'll go out for a coffee with Mr. Davis.
Sounds good, mate. Look forward to that. Here's some more stories. I want to see your face go red about when he says the one. I'm not going to say it now, but you know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, right. Well, we'll find out what that one is. You can tell me after. Anyway, sir, you know, really appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
Cheers.
Keep in touch.
Cheers, mate. Take care. All the best. Thank you.